Oh, shit. Ah.
Yeah, they're gonna mess with you, baby, you're a star. Stepping in the spotlight, you know that it feels right. Time to put up a fight, honey. Got nothing left to lose, so let's start right now. Everybody want a piece of you. Gotta give them what they want, it's true. You're symphonic, yeah, so iconic. If you didn't know before, now you know. Now you know. Take a big step away from who you were. Flashing that smile and the whole world's a blur.
It's a blur.
Dancing in the
Positively
light.
Powerful, back again on a Wednesday after a brief hiatus with Stacey Steinmiller. And hey, look
Oh.
at me. Hi. Hi, Stacey. You're way up there.
See, I look so big. I'm
It's
back.
it's our proximity to the cameras. My camera's right there.
My
Plus, I
camera's
forgot.
far.
Plus, I forgot to switch it. We record everything in 4K here, which is more than the platforms like.
Mm.
So it's probably going to tell me, "Oh, you're too high quality." Yeah. But we'll deal with it, I guess, and see how it goes. Chime in if you're able, and let us know how the stream is on the various platforms. We should be on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and possibly Instagram. We'll see if that is
See.
working. And so today you had an interesting subject that
Yeah.
the anti-hustle,
Yep.
which is flies in the face of pretty much what everybody's doing, which is the side hustle and the hustle and the Nipsey hustle and all that stuff. So rest in peace. So yeah, so tell me about what's your anti-hustle thing? What is that all about?
Yeah. So I decided I wanted to do a free program. I hadn't done one in a while, and this one just came to me around getting out of hustle energy and how to move from a place of inner peace, relaxation, and so forth, where you're not constantly trying and pushing and pressure, because that's what usually leads, or that's what leads to, burnout and overwhelm and exhaustion and just life dissatisfaction, like all of the things. So I was like, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's do this.
Yeah. And that's so timely. It's so
Yeah.
timely. I think when at least for me when the summer rolls around, that's when I start saying, "Man, I really should take more time to enjoy this time instead of." I'm really trying to
With the cameras.
even up with
Sorry.
you. And I'm not entirely positive that that this is actually going out, to be honest with you. But we'll see. I guess we will see. I'm not seeing any evidence that it is currently live. Are you able to see
Oh,
that?
I'm looking on,
Oh yeah.
I think
YouTube
so.
says we
On
are live.
LinkedIn. It looks like we're on LinkedIn.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah. Okay.
we'll do the
We'll
show
keep going.
anyway. So
Comment if you're here so we
Yeah, yeah.
know.
Yeah. The whole summer thing, for me is always like I live 3.5 minutes from the studio. I try to bike here. I would like to bike here more just because it's easy, it's fun. But there's always something like I gotta be somewhere halfway through the day. And so I can't bike here because then I would have to like bike home and get my car and all that kind of stuff. Or, I gotta go pick somebody up, one of my kids. So that has been kind of getting in the way of the anti-hustle for me, because even though I'm coming to work, biking to work is feels like a vacation. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm doing something special. I'm doing, I'm outside, I'm enjoying the fresh air. I'm enjoying exercise, making you feel, you know how it is. You try to go to the gym before you do anything so that you have those endorphins and you have all that
Yep.
oxygen rich blood pumping through your brain and your body. Um so that's like the way I look at it, even though I'm coming to work. And
Hmm.
but I'll try, if there's no bookings and we're doing okay with deadlines, we'll cut out early. Be like, all right, it's 1 o'clock, let's go home, because
Hmm.
it's summer and it's nice out
Yeah,
and there's a
it
pool
is.
that I need to get in or something.
Yes, you've been posting all about your pool. I love your pool
And I've
posts.
only been in it twice, but that's okay. That's okay. The kids are enjoying it too, so, and the dog.
Yeah. So, but you bring up a good point. Part of becoming anti-hustle is really owning your schedule and prioritizing it and honoring it fully. Like it is the most important thing in your life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's like it requires that level of commitment. And but what you're committing to is yourself. You're committing to your happiness. You're committing to being a like living a present life. And like you're saying with summer, every summer I've been hearing, people say like, but we have the average of, 75, maybe closer to 80 now. Who knows? I don't know the life expectancy. Summers in our life, right? When you think about it that way. And then you're like, oh wow, that's not that many summers.
Yeah.
And how do I want to be spending my time?
Yeah, and
Right.
that's exactly, that was part of the keynote at the
Mm,
startup summit at the Golisano Institute
mm,
with Aaron Newman, who, if you follow Aaron Newman on Facebook, he's exploring the ocean depths. He's all over the
mm,
world, like he's swimming with orcas. He's exploring shipwrecks in Lake Ontario. I mean, he is living his best life. Now, he earned that by being a successful entrepreneur and selling
mhm,
multiple companies and that kind
mhm,
of thing. But he said that because people are like, "What's your next thing? What's your next business?" And he's like, I don't want to do another business.
mhm,
How many?" He's like, "I'm 51, 52 years old or whatever." He's like, "How many summers do I have left? 20, 25?"
mhm.
And he's like,
Yeah.
I want to spend each one of those summers doing something that I really love doing, that I enjoy, that's joyful, and not, trying to figure out a way to make that next million or something. It's like he caught
Right.
his limit. He's like, that's enough for me. I'm good. I'm good. He
Yeah.
gives to charities. He supports causes that he believes in, and he feels fulfilled. And that's like, I mean, you can't ask for a better existence than that.
Right.
I mean, that
Yeah,
is
that's
the
awesome.
dream.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it starts with, prioritizing of what's important to you. And so if your health and wealth, well-being, all those are important, you're going to really consciously make those decisions and look at your schedule and look at your life and cut out all the things that are not supporting your highest good, your highest endeavor. And that's actually how we create this anti-hustle feeling, because it's also anti-hustle doesn't mean not doing anything. And that's a mindset block that people get into, be like, well, oh, I'm just going to sit on the couch all day. And it's like, no, that's is that how you want to live your life? Right? Like, no, you don't want to live your life like that. It's how do you want to live your life? And then, yeah, prioritizing that, designing your life that way.
Right.
And it's not going to be hustle, hustle. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to do this, right? You're going to create what you actually want your life to look like, you know?
Yeah, and I think there's one of the blocks that people may encounter is that whole like FOMO thing,
Hmm.
where they're the fear of missing out, the fear that if they take that break, they're gonna miss that opportunity, or something like that, that it's gonna be bad for them, because they're gonna drop out of their routine, or it's gonna cause a problem, a ripple effect that's gonna make them lose whatever they've got going on now. And I understand that, but that's something that people really have to like try to break,
Mhm.
because the rest and just that rejuvenation that you get from the rest is so crucial, and it makes you more effective when you come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And you basically kind of said in the main thing there, the fear of missing out. Well, that means your actions are rooted in fear, right? And so is that again how you want to be living your life? And when your actions are rooted in fear, you are giving your power away. So therefore your happiness now is dependent on the external person, the situation, the outcome, right? And that's how we give our power away. So if we want to be empowered beings, if we want to live a soul-led life, then we need to make decisions not from a place of fear, not from a place of lack. And
Ah,
it which is hard to do, yeah.
oh, it's very hard to do, and we talk about this a lot. I think on a daily basis. Are you coming from that point of view, that lack, and also making your happiness coming from something outside, like
Mhm,
I will be happy when this
mhm.
happens, I will be happy when that happens. And I really feel like that's ingrained in us from an early age.
Yep,
Like, you're going to be so happy when it's Christmas time and Santa comes and
right.
there's all the presents, and you're going to be happy when we go to Disney or something. Like, it's always something to look forward to
Yep,
that make you happy. And I
yep.
mean, it's not wrong to say that, but it's also maybe not fair to put that, I don't know, that learning into us, to be like,
Yes,
your happiness comes from an external thing, an external
right.
experience.
Yeah, and we'll keep perpetuating that until we ourselves unlearn that and learn the new way, which is why I was like, okay, great. I want to do this 30-day challenge to help people unlearn the conditioning from their lives and then really start to at least relearn or not relearn. Maybe relearn actually works on a soul level because your soul already knows this newer way, and then you start to become the example, right? You're the example for those around you. If you have children, now you're setting a whole different example of what life looks like. And the more of us that do that, then we do have a impact on a much greater scale than just ourselves. It impacts our friends and our family and our businesses, our clients, our employees, and right, like it has this ripple effect. And so I truly believe we can like change the world in the way we are by doing the work on simply ourselves. And and that's how it goes. And so I'm passionate about that.
Yeah. So map out this 30-day challenge for me. Like,
Yeah.
how does it work?
So I'm running it on Telegram, and which is basically like a text voice note app, other than using like your regular text messenger that you have. And it's a broadcast channel. So I'm coming in every day. So we started yesterday, but you can still join now. You can go back and listen to, prior messages. And so every day I'm coming in with a voice note, and then I'm typing up like a prompt, a question to help people start to explore this shift to their anti-hustle life. What does that look like? What fears or blocks are coming up that's stopping me from that? So basically, I'm just coming in every day with a little focus and snippet with a specific prompt. And then people have the ability to comment on that and share their reflections, insights, challenges, etc. and which I really love because then throughout the month, I can actually point to maybe some of the specific blocks and questions that are coming up for people as they're making this shift in their life. So it's pretty simple, but really, really life changing already. Yesterday, we dove into worth and where am I doing in order to feel loved? Am I doing in order to create worthiness, right? So that's coming from a place of lack. So increasing your awareness around that. Today was more about, can I even imagine what an anti-hustle life looks like, right? Because if we can't imagine it, or if we imagine it being not good, right? If we tell ourselves, well, an anti-hustle life means I'm not going to do anything, which means I won't be fulfilled, then you're not even going to want to do the work. So that's where we're starting, and we're just going to keep, building on these concepts throughout the month.
Yeah, that when you talk about an anti-hustle life, that actually like gets me fearful. Like I
Yeah,
start thinking, I'm like, all right, anti-hustle life. So that means, I get up whenever I want. I don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. It means I disregard all of my deadlines. I just do whatever I want when I want. It's not what you're talking about, but that's where my
exactly.
head goes when you talk
Yeah,
about, because I'm so it's beat into me that it's like, all right, you
yeah,
got to boom, 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 boom. You got to keep on moving, keep on hustling. I mean,
exactly.
hear me,
Yeah.
can you hand me that sign every day?
Well, you got something
Like,
fun over there. Everyday hustling, yeah.
this
Yeah,
is on
and
my
which is
desk.
right, which is so funny. Yeah, because that's the other thing. The ego takes so much pride in hustling, right? Like
Yeah.
I remember a time, and there might be people that still do this out there, or maybe they don't come up in my algorithm anymore. And I used to do this like 10 plus years ago. But do you remember when people would just like write on Facebook like everything they did that day? Like I
Yeah.
did this and this, and then I did this, and then I did this, right? They're looking for that validation
Right.
that I'm a good person, right? Because I did all these things. Um, but yeah, the interesting thing is, so I love doing all these programs because I immerse myself in them as well, right? Because a lot of the learning and so forth is an energetic exchange of like embodied learning of these. And so it was like last week or so I started really implementing more of this stuff with more conscious awareness to prepare myself for the program. And I have actually been way more productive in this past week by really focusing on this anti-hustle energy than I have before.
Hmm.
And yeah, because I'm not acting from fear, because I'm acting from a place of trust and love and calmness. I'm not being reactive to everything that's like just popping up in my world. And it feels so expansive and so good.
I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. Like, I'm seriously
Get in the challenge, Scott.
and then I got to get back on Telegram.
You
It's
see
just
it, yeah,
another
people have
platform. Just another
another, but
platform I got to
so
deal
it's
with.
just like another, yeah, that's another block, right? It's like, oh, a notification. I used to
Excuse
do that
boy.
too, though. Right, exactly. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And then you do it, and it's like, oh, or even I'll check to see if this is afterwards, if this is streaming on Instagram. But yeah, when we first started doing this, I was like, oh, I looked at how to do that and I was like, well, this is way too complicated for me to figure out, right? I just did it. Then yesterday I had to hit to be like, oh, are you checking right now?
Yeah,
Um,
and there's a reason why it's not on Facebook, and it's not on Instagram too. And that's my fault. It's my fault because I'm streaming at too high a quality, but um
oh,
YouTube and LinkedIn can handle it, but Facebook and Instagram cannot.
can't. Oh,
So
that makes
they
sense.
automatically just rejected the stream. Um, so that's my bad.
That's why.
And
But Yeah. But so either way, even though it's not, yesterday I was like, oh, well, let me look. It took me 2 seconds to Google, how do I find a stream key, right? To use Restream on Instagram because it needed this weird restream. And then
Yeah,
I found a video. Took 2 seconds to do. So
right.
it was just even just the act of finding the stream key and putting it on there. Again, that's how I detach from the outcome. Like, regardless of if this goes on Instagram or not, I don't care. The win was me getting past my block and doing something that I thought, that had all these excuses that I can't do and blah, 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 and move past it. Right. So that's the win right there, you know?
Yeah, and that's huge because that's I mean, pretty much my everyday is dealing with one of those blocks.
Yeah.
At so many different levels in my life, personal, business, physical, emotional, doesn't matter. There's constantly those blocks, those things that come from fear or they come from the feeling of lack or want or anything. And I think the biggest problem, at least for me and probably most people, is that we don't recognize that. We don't recognize the origin
Right.
of these things. They're just so natural and everyday that
Yeah.
you don't think about, like, wait a second, I'm feeling this way. Oh, that's coming from a place of fear. So then what do you do in that situation? Do you say, okay, so what would the opposite of what I'm doing right now be? And sometimes that's even hard to figure out.
It is hard to figure out in the mind. And that's where it's learning how to come into the heart from there. So we'll be able to catch the fear or illusion in our mind, right? We have the intelligence to be able to do that. But then to flip that, it's not necessarily just trying to convince yourself otherwise, right? So it's because you already know, you're like, okay, I'm in fear right now. So this is actually an illusion of my ego that is holding on to something, or whatever. It's making up a story, blah, 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 blah. I know it's not true. So, but my task here is to come into my heart space and get into the energy of the heart. And that's why we talk about so often doing actual like physical things to shift us like into our body. And that's when we talked about, I think we talked about recently even on here, like going for that little walk just to like get out of your head and into your body, or putting the music on and dancing around to get out of your head and into your body. And that's so hard because people are like, no, I was taught to sit at a desk all day for hours and figure stuff out with my brain, and right, like we weren't taught how to come into our body and start to use that and change our energy first, which then the solutions start kind of popping in, from your intuition out of nowhere, etc., because you've changed your energetic state,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
It's I'm always fascinated by this stuff, and it's always when you explain it, it always sounds so damn easy. It sounds so obvious. But when you're in that situation, it's kind of like, man, just get stepping out of the situation and recognizing that there's something to step out and look at. It's so meta. It's so like, why don't I'm in a fishbowl, but I don't realize I'm in a fishbowl, and I don't think about, where am I? Am I in a fishbowl? It's just mind
Right.
boggling.
Exactly. Exactly. Which is why I create all these programs that are based off of like prompts and questioning and reflection. Because if we don't do that, we just assume everything as real and never move past the fear, never move past the illusion. Right. So we have to have a means to check yourself, right? To reflect on it. And the more pointed those questions are, the bit easier it is to make those shifts versus, you can do the extra, the meta of, meditate on the statement I am, right? Like that's where a lot of like, enlightenment comes from. But, when we're trying to work through the nuances of the everyday in our situations, having pointed questions around this, prompts and like homework is what I've noticed to help people shift through and actually make and learn, embody these changes.
All right. So how do people find this 30-day challenge again? How do we
I
jump on
can
board?
drop the link in, everywhere.
And I'm
But
gonna take this video and I'm gonna put it up on Facebook later.
okay,
So it
yeah.
won't be live,
Yeah.
but you'll be able to go back and listen to it and watch it. Um, I think one thing that I'd like to do from now on after each show is have you come up with a prompt for today. What would today's
Mm.
prompt be? And every show will end with a prompt that you come up with
Oh, I
that we can
like
take
that.
with us and kind of say, all right, this is encapsulating what we talked about, if we can do, if
Yeah.
that's even possible.
Totally. I can do that. I love that. And then, I'm always big on giving people, because I get that this stuff is so unusual compared to any other like product or service, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everything's so obvious. If somebody's an accountant, you know exactly what that person does and what they're going to do. But, like it's just,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, well, I'm a coach and I talk, life and leadership and mindset blocks and emotional, right? Energetics. And people are like, I have no idea, Stacey, like what you're doing, which is why I love doing this to help people understand a little bit more and doing free programs every once in a while so people can be like, oh, this is what it is. Because once people get in the work, they're like, oh my gosh, well, you've even shared, like, this is life changing. This
Yeah.
is, has done so much for me. But when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, what? I'm so confused. So,
And
okay, I will.
sticking with it is the key though, because
Yeah.
for all of this stuff, it's so easy to get lost and trapped in your day to day and the humdrum and the wash, rinse, repeat, that whole thing that happens all the time, and you start to forget. You start to forget.
Yep.
This is the work I need to do. These are the things I need to think about. These are the prompts that I need to
Mm-hmm.
ask myself so that I can pull myself out of that situation and get myself back on the right track. And that's where I've been. The last couple of
Yep.
weeks, I have been off the path, but that's why
Yeah.
we're going to talk later.
Yes, exactly. That's why I forced you to be like, Scott, you have not been using your one-on-one sessions that you are paying for. So I'm going to force you to schedule those. Yeah. So anyways, okay. So I wonder if this will show. This is the what this looks like on the app here. And this is from today. I think that was blurry, but whatever. So the prompt for today is, I call it imagination time. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. What would my anti-hustle life look like? Is the prompt for today. So I have things to note that I wrote down. Your anti-hustle life is desirable, right? So if you're like, oh, I don't get anything done and I don't like my life, well, then that's not your anti-hustle life. That's
Right.
a giving up life. That's something totally different. Your anti-hustle life is not avoidance / energetic collapse or giving up. So that's just like, another way to say that. Your anti-hustle life is not empty and it's still full of what you desire and it's absent of what you don't desire, right? So this is where we're kind of really getting in our priorities, right? What's important to us, what actually provides life satisfaction versus, what's a distraction and not. So I said, have fun, play with this, share what you came up with and or any continued blocks or challenges with this assignment. Then I said, give yourself a gold star for showing up. It's way more than most. So yeah, then there's an option to leave a comment. And obviously people can do this without commenting as well. But like I said, the more engaged people are, the more they get out of the program. So I'm really excited for this. The comments from yesterday were really insightful and people are showing up and doing the work. And I'm excited to see where they're at with this at the end of the month. I already know it's going to be huge and life-changing for people. And I also feel this is a way to kind of give my skills out to the world that might feel like they're not in a financial place to invest.
Perfect.
Take a deep breath.
What a perfect way to end today. So I'm downloading Telegram. So you can see.
Oh, look at you.
I used it before and then kind of fell off of it. But all right, well, cool. So thanks again, Stacey, radicallifecoach.com, rockfox.com for all your podcasting and live streaming needs. And if you pay me, I won't make a mistake. But when I do it myself, I tend to make some
Yeah, that's
mistakes.
usually how it goes, right? Yeah.
But we'll catch you next time on the various platforms. See ya.
Now you know. Now you